Welcome to Todd Talks, where my guest today is Elisabeth Kincaid. Dr. Kincaid is not only an associate professor at Baylor's Truett Seminary, but she's also the director of the Institute for Faith and Learning at Baylor's University. Dr. Kincaid, Elisabeth, thank you for joining me.
Thanks so much, Dane. I'm thrilled to be here.
It is a delight not only to visit with you today, but for you to be at Baylor. So how did it happen that you came to Baylor?
Prayer. No, I'm from Dallas, actually have long-term family ties in Baptist education. And Baylor has always been a dream place for me to be. I've kind of moved around to different institutions in my academic career, but always just thought, gosh, if I could end up anywhere, it would be Baylor because of Baylor's commitment both to academic excellence and Christian mission and identity. And to have the opportunity to serve as the director of the Institute for Faith and Learning and as a professor at Truett has just really been a wonderful, wonderful experience.
So you've almost been here an entire academic year. How's it going? So far, so good?
So far, so good. I mean, I think the thing about Baylor is there's so many amazing things going on that I feel like 8 months in, I'm still learning everything that's happening here. But what I'm really impressed by is the depth of commitment to Christian identity. I don't think I realized how deep and how broad the faculty and administration's commitment to this is, and how nice people are. And I'm from Texas. I should have known, but people are really nice here.
Yeah, sometimes there's this talk about Baylor nice, and you're not exactly sure whether it's a compliment or a critique.
I say this as a compliment.
Elisabeth, one of the most fascinating things about you, and you're a fascinating person, is your academic journey. From Rice to UT, to SMU, to Notre Dame, and you're studying different things at each place along the way. So take us on the trip.
So Todd, I'm glad you find it fascinating. It's just opposed to showing a lot of indecision. And I think this all started because I thought I was going to go to seminary and be an ordained minister, and then I did a semester of youth ministry. And decided absolutely
disabused you of the notion?
Of middle schoolers. I just said, no way. And so I did what all English and history majors who don't know what they want to be do, and went to law school at the University of Texas. My whole family are lawyers, so that was a natural, easy fit.
Family business.
It was. That and being Baptist pastors. One side, the lawyer side is the other. And so went to law school, practiced as a litigator. I was not a very good litigator. I did not like it. Did some in-house work, and through a number of circumstances, just discerned that I wanted to figure out what did it mean to live out my faith through my vocational calling. I'd been involved with a group called International Justice Mission that does legal work, got to go with them to India and train Indian lawyers, and just seeing how their faith animated their work. And I wanted to figure out how to do that. So I went on staff with InterVarsity and actually did that with students at SMU's business school, law school, and at their seminary some, just helping students explore these vocational questions. What does it mean to be a Christian lawyer? What does it mean to be a Christian business leader? And through a much beloved friend of both of ours, the late Billy Abraham, I ended up taking classes at Perkins Seminaries. I went to him and said, Billy, why won't seminary students come to my events? They're really good. And he said, well, they don't know you. Why don't you take some classes at SMU? So
consummate recruiter.
Always. So I said, okay, well, why not?
Yeah.
And just fell in love with academic theology. And I realized that to do the work that I wanted to do with these students, to be on the faculty side would let me do it, give me a broader knowledge base. I would know more theology and to speak into their lives in a different way. So
way leads to way, and from Perkins, you got to South Bend.
Yes, which was a big change as someone who only lived in Texas, had been moving around, moving around Texas cities. I I wanted to go to Notre Dame because I've always been very interested in these questions about the integration of faith and law.
Yeah.
And my advisor, Dr. Jean Porter, is just an amazing expert in this field. And so getting to go work with her, getting to work with the other faculty at Notre Dame, both in the theology department and in the law school. I actually did a minor for my candidacy exams in legal philosophy over at the law school. So I got to have the opportunity to live in both of those worlds.
So this plays into the fact that your interests are, as John Sweet once said to me, splendidly Catholic. You work in different disciplines, and so many people have a difficult time when all they do is work myopically on one. But here you are in literature, now you're in law, now you're in business, now you're in theology. How is it that you keep all of these academic balls in the air?
Hopefully it's a case of, not being overbroad, but I think it comes back to these similar questions, which is where's God at work in the world? And how are we part of God's mission in the world? So asking the question of what does it mean to be a Christian lawyer or a Christian business leader or a Christian author and novelist is about saying how at a deep level, at kind of an incarnational level, does our faith inform what we do?
And in many ways, this is something that stood out to me during your candidacy for the Institute of Faith and Learning. This is this initiative at Baylor that is now an institute that you are the director of, that cuts across academic disciplines, even as Baylor in Deeds is saying, we want to be increasingly not only global, pro mundo, but also interdisciplinary.
Yes, exactly. And that's really the goal of the IFL. The goal of the IFL is to resource and form faculty and staff to integrate faith into their teaching and research. And we believe very strongly that every discipline can and should be at a Christian university like Baylor, informed by Christian faith, and of course for our Jewish faculty by their Jewish faith. And so there's nothing that can't be illuminated by God's truth. And as soon as we cut something in a discipline off from that, and it's going to look different in different disciplines. It may look very different for a chemist than a law professor.
Yes. Yeah, so sometimes people quip, there is no such thing as Christian math. And then it occurs to me, correct, but there are such things as Christian mathematicians.
Absolutely.
So when we talk about the integration of faith and learning, we're really talking about the integration of character with discipline in a way.
I think that's completely right. And I think if we take the discipline seriously, there's no such thing as Christian math, but math shows us math illuminates our Christian faith. It shows us something about God's creation.
The beauty, the symmetry. Any of us who may be mathematically challenged and musically challenged for that to that extent, but we've seen the correlations and connections between math and music, the symmetry, the beauty.
Completely. And I think people like you and me who work in the theological world, we know that our theological reflection is enriched by these insights, by the beauty. How many theologians have been inspired by beautiful music?
Right. And there was a time that people accused theology of being the queen of the sciences.
You think there's good reason for that? You're going to get no complaints.
May it be again. May it be again. So IFL not only works with faculty to say, we want to be a resource for you as you integrate faith and learning in your Baylor classrooms and in the work you do for the Guild and beyond, but IFL is also quite engaged with undergraduates, quite engaged with various events that are hosted. Talk to us a bit about the work of IFL.
So we have a number of sort of signature programs, and the one you're referencing is the Baylor Symposium on Faith and Culture, which is going to be hosted at Truett Seminary next year. We're very excited about that, and that's a large symposium that brings together Christian scholars and students from across the country to engage with an interdisciplinary question in a way that's informed by faith.
Yeah.
So last year, our theme was Institutions for the Common Good. We had over 500 attendees representing 60 universities across the country. This year, our theme is going to be Technology and the Human Person in the Age of AI. Obviously, both of contemporary relevance and in alignment with the commitments of Baylor and Deeds. And we are very excited because it gives faculty who might not interact with each other in their guilds or their home institutions a chance from across the country to come together and also to learn about what's going on at Baylor. It's a great way to show off, here's what's happening at Baylor. I realized this actually last year. I was sitting in a session and I saw three undergrads who'd come to present research in Truett t-shirts. And I thought, wow, that's so great. These Truett students came to the conference, and I realized they'd all gone to visit Truett while they were here.
You shall know them by their t-shirts.
That's right. That's right. So we have some undergrad panels. We're going to be doing an undergrad poster hall. So we do that. We have a program called Cranes, which is an undergraduate program where we bring together outstanding undergrads who want to be involved over a 3-year period in thinking about this integration of faith and work. We partner with the grad school, a program called Conyers Fellows, which is similar for graduate students. We run a number of kind of resource programs for faculty. We have a retreat called Communio, gives faculty a chance to come together, explore their faith. And next year, we're launching a number of research cohorts, which are going to give faculty across the university who want to engage on a specific topic from a faith-informed perspective, the chance to come together.
And one of the initiatives since you've come, Elisabeth, is to engage with the Baylor School of Nursing in Dallas.
Yes, absolutely. We have a program called Missy. I don't know why all the titles are Latin. And that's lunch programs that give faculty and staff the chance to think through Baylor's Christian mission identity. So we currently have 3. We had the one for new faculty. We've started one for staff, and we've started one at the nursing school as well, and looking to expand that programming next year as well, just to give faculty and staff the chance to come together and ask these questions. What does it mean to teach at a Christian university?
That's remarkable for our nursing school, which as the only one of our schools that is distinctly based elsewhere in Dallas, sometimes they can feel cut off from the continent and the main.
Well, I will say, I love going to be with the nursing faculty. And they have actually, the dean said, we're not going to just do this for new faculty, we're going to do it for everyone.
Dean Plank's wonderful.
She's been great.
She really is fantastic. So I'm interested in the work that IFL does with undergraduates, because one of the things that undergraduates who come to Baylor say is, we would like to be involved in research. We would like to be engaged with our professors.
Right.
So the work that you all do with the Conyers Scholars is a way to lift up some very capable undergrads and connect them with professors.
Yes, exactly. Right. So that's Crane. That's actually Crane, who's undergrad. Conyers
I said Conyers because Chip Conyers was a former professor at Truett, and so this is Conyers on the brain.
Named after him. So
but this is one of Baylor's old presidents, Crane.
Yes. Yeah. So the Crane students apply beginning of their sophomore year. They make a 3-year commitment. They are in a cohort, and the cohort, I think we have about probably 20, 25 students per cohort. They go over monthly to a faculty house. They have dinner. Yeah. They discuss different questions, really in line both with the faculty members' discipline or something the faculty member is excited about learning about. Yeah. And they will be with different faculty for every year. And so it's an amazing experience both for them and for the faculty. I mean, we see it as formative for the faculty as well, that they're getting the time out of the classroom to build these interpersonal relationships with students.
And any number of these students, I assume, go on to be Christian academics themselves.
Absolutely. I think, or doctors or lawyers. We intentionally recruit from across the whole university. We want each cohort to have students who have different perspectives and different experiences.
And Elisabeth, it seems to me that one of the things that IFL does is to take Baylor's commitment as an R1 Christian university and engage with other Christian universities and hopefully all kind of lift up our eyes
That would absolutely be part of our goal. The symposium is a wonderful platform for that because we do bring other Christian universities come here. I have also been on a cross-the-country pilgrimage this year. I think I've been to St. Louis, Grand Rapids, South Bend, and I'm going to speak at Pepperdine in 2 weeks, and to Biola, meeting with folks doing similar work at other centers to explore possibilities for collaboration, to get to know each other, to learn about how they're doing this well at other Christian universities. I have some friends of mine at actually Providence College and Westmont, and I are exploring, can we co-host a symposium where we bring people together? It is so exciting, Todd, seeing the energy at Christian universities about living into mission and identity and doing it not competitively but collaboratively.
That's right, because at the end of the day, Baylor may aspire to be, quote, the Protestant Notre Dame, but we need one another, and so many of these smaller Christian colleges do not necessarily have the bandwidth
Right.
or the resource, and we can collaborate together, and we're better together.
Absolutely. And when you say that, at the symposium this last year, we had a panel, and it featured our president, President Livingston, and Father Jenkins, the president emeritus of Notre Dame. And one of the things that Father Jenkins actually said is he said, Notre Dame needs Baylor. And he made that point. He said, we need to all be in this together.
Yeah. So what has most surprised you and excited you since you've been at IFL, at Truett? IFL and Truett have done a number of events together.
We've done some. That's been a wonderful opportunity for partnership, and it's really nice that I'm situated in Truett for my IFL work because Baylor has so many great theologians, and Truett, religion, honors college, and there are all these resources for faculty who want to deepen their Christian engagement, and so trying to connect across the university, drawing on the resources. One event we have coming up in April that I've co-organized with the Grants and Public Interest Committee is we're bringing in the religion editor from the Dallas Morning News to talk about writing op-eds. So how do you take these academic ideas that you have of kind of Christian, either theology or Christian-informed research, and present it to a broader public?
Yeah, put the cookies on a shelf that folks can get them.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. So we're seeing this as a 3-part series. We're going to bring speakers in from different types of media outlets to provide training for faculty across Baylor, because just like we're supposed to be resourcing Christian universities, we also need to be resourcing the church and kind of the broader civilization.
Yeah.
And we need, as academics, we can get very up in our heads.
Yeah.
And so this is the opportunity to train folks about how to share those ideas more broadly.
So, Elisabeth, even as you've traveled to any number of institutions of higher education throughout the country this year, you also find yourself speaking and teaching in churches with some degree of regularity.
I love doing that. That's been really wonderful. And actually having this platform at Baylor has given me the chance, I think, to do that even more. I just was at St. Martin's Episcopal Church in Houston on Sunday, kicking off their series on the 7 deadly sins, and they assigned me lust and gluttony. So that wasn't awkward.
Oh, joy.
I know, exactly. Showing up there. So yes, that's just been really wonderful. And I think the church is encouraged, people in churches are encouraged by what's going on in Baylor. But yes, getting to be, this is part of what Truett does, and by being part of the Truett, I get to be part of it, being this bridge between the church and the academy.
Yeah. And Elisabeth, even as teaching and research are mutually reinforcing, the speaking that you do and the writing that you do are really mutually reinforcing. So let's talk just a bit as we kind of think about bringing our conversation to an end about the work that you're doing academically. Talk to us about kind of your areas of interest, your areas of writing, which once again spanned business and law and theology. What are some projects that you've worked on? What are some projects, quote, in the works?
So my first book just came out this past March. So I guess it's exactly a year ago. It's based on my dissertation. It's called Law from Below, and it's drawing on the work of this early modern legal theorist, Francisco Suarez, and looking at how his ideas about legal engagement by Christians can really help us avoid sort of polarizing extremes of political discourse in our society. So
What a timely book.
it's more timely than I realized. And so that's been fun. I'm actually speaking on that doing a talk on that here at Baylor in a couple weeks in the poli-sci department.
Wonderful.
And my next project, to your point about teaching and research, actually aligns very closely with the class I'm currently teaching at Truett. I'm teaching a class on pastoral leadership and ethical management in churches and nonprofits. So it's really taking business ethics for our students who are going to be church leaders or nonprofit leaders and giving them tools and resources to think about administrative leadership as part of their ministry. And I have a book under contract with Georgetown called Business Ethics for Human Flourishing. So I'm going to be looking at Christian-informed business ethics. Not quite as far along with that as I had thought I would be.
Well, I wonder why.
And just so I think really my passions have stayed the same. So I've had different jobs since I was in my 20s. And I'm very interested in these ideas of Christ-informed character formation for people in the professions. And
you do virtue ethics.
I do virtue ethics, exactly. So I'm a virtue ethicist is really my training.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a talk at Wake Forest next week at a conference they're having at the law school on character and law practice on the lawyer as citizen. So looking at kind of Augustine's idea of pietas. And it's just wonderful to get to do all those things. And it's great being at a place like Baylor where I can, be at a seminary, but interact at the business school, interact at the law school, and kind of live across those worlds.
It's one of the beauties about being a, quote, embedded seminary.
Yes.
One of the 12 schools and colleges that comprise Baylor. I love our rose window in the Powell Chapel. Those that look closely can see symbols of the university embedded therein.
Yes. And that's what when we think about where universities started,
Yes.
that's what, you made a joke about theology being the queen of the sciences, but what that is supposed to hold up the value of each of these fields of intellectual exploration.
Yes.
And how that each of them is informed by God's creative and redemption action in the world.
Well, and if we go back to the oldest universities in the world, they began, with theological exploration.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So whether we're in the UK at Oxford or Cambridge, sorry, Cambridge friends, or whether you're at the University of Paris or wherever.
Right. That's what they started as. And the sense that our theological knowledge becomes richer as we understand more of the world.
So, Elisabeth, among other things, as a person who directs the Institute for Faith and Learning, you all have been doing some strategic planning. All of us who have been tasked to guide units have been asked to think deeply about how Baylor's current strategic plan, Baylor Indeeds, will impact our unit, and how our units then will lift up some initiatives that will feed into Baylor Indeeds. So, as you begin to think now, kind of moving towards the future, what would you like to see IFL do in addition to, or perhaps instead of, what IFL has done in the past?
Todd, I'm not far enough into my strategic planning process to be able to give up anything yet.
Okay.
This has come up.
See, I'm just digging.
Yes, this has come up. So I'll say, one of the things we're doing is our symposium themes are all going to be tied into Baylor Indeeds.
Excellent.
So we're really trying to focus and bring together people across the university who are working on these key themes through our symposium. I think the humbling thing about being at Baylor for me is how many people are already doing outstanding faith-informed research across the university.
Yes.
So I see IFL as being a place that brings those people together.
And then lifts it up, right?
Right. So one of the things that we've been doing is we've moved to a monthly newsletter format where we gather together everything at Baylor that's integrating faith and learning and let people know about it, because there's so many things that are going on that people just don't hear about.
An embarrassment of riches.
There is. And so that IFL can be a place that's a gathering place. We're in the provost office that's a hub that people can come together and learn about what's going on and be resources to each other.
So if folks wanted to know more about IFL, how would they find out? If they wanted to get more information about IFL, what would they do?
They should go to our website, which we're going to be updating as soon as we finalize our strategic plan. And then what I would really encourage them to do is sign up for our newsletter. It's once a month. Also follow us on social media. Yeah. But one of the things that we've added in the newsletter that we love is every month we have a Baylor faculty member reflect on how faith informs their work and their research. So it also gives people a chance not only to learn about IFL, but to learn more broadly about what's going on at Baylor.
So here we are near the end of March. We're right in the middle of Lent. We're coming up on the most holy season in the Christian calendar. What else remains for IFL this calendar, this academic year?
So we will be having a reunion for faculty who've attended Communio in the past.
I'll be there.
Thank you.
I'm coming.
We're going to have a dinner, and then the next day, we're going to have David Smith from Calvin is going to do a teaching workshop for faculty who've been involved at Communio. He has a new book that's come out, so he's going to be bringing some new information for those faculty.
He's my next guest on Todd.
I was going to say, I knew he was, and we're just thrilled to have him. We will have Communio in May, and then we're piloting a new program called Couples Communio. We're looking for ways to not only, which will be a small group of faculty and their spouses, with hopes, and we'll see if we can figure this out, about eventually doing a family camp. We want to resource not only Baylor faculty, but also Baylor kind of faculty families, because they're also a part of the work and vocation of this. So we're not sure it's a pilot, it's a trial, but we're excited about that. We'll be wrapping up our different missios, these faculty lunch groups, and wrapping up the Cranes program, blessing and sending those seniors out. And then we're going to be looking at our website and really thinking about how do I've got a team in the Institute who have been working on bringing together all the resources on faith integrated teaching, and we want to make our website a place where people can go, not just at Baylor, but to your point, other Christian or secular colleges and universities, and find more resources about how to do this. So we're trying to figure out what's the best way to present that information.
Amazing. Elisabeth, we're absolutely delighted that you're at Baylor, giving guidance not only to IFL, but also instructing students, conducting research, and thank you on behalf of Truett and on behalf of Baylor for your ambassadorship as you go out and you speak and you lecture.
Well, thank you for welcoming me here. I mean, you were one of the first Baylor people I met, so it's been just a joy. So thank you, Todd, and thanks for letting me share about my work in IFL today on your podcast.
Thank you. I often pray for those with whom I've visited. Let me pray a prayer as we conclude. Lord, thank you for Elisabeth, for the gifts you've entrusted to her, for her industry and her initiative. And Lord, would you continue to guide her as she guides IFL, and Lord, as she continues to contribute to Baylor's Christian mission, not least around the integration of faith and learning. And we ask, God, that by your good grace, you would continue to guide for Jesus' sake. Amen. All right. Thank you for joining us on Todd Talks. Stay tuned for next time.